My stepfather insulted me and my husband behind our backs, so we retaliated.
With kindness?
Tried to translate it as best I could, but the word pig does not mean a literal pig. In the context it was used, I think what my stepdad meant was the bourgeoisie, or capitalist pig, and used it as a double entendre in reference to body fat. My stepdad has been with my mother for about 5 years now. I was an adult before they met. We are not that close, but have a cordial relationship, or so I thought. By the way, this comes from Just Want Cuddles, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Dakota.
And I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, my husband and I were invited to a small impromptu dinner party. My husband was sick, so I initially made our apologies, but afterwards he encouraged me to go, even though what I truly wanted was to play nurse for him. These dinner parties happen with regularity, and my husband is far more important anyway. However, he encouraged me and said it would be good for me to go, so I did. I arrived a little late and didn't immediately announce my presence. I stood in the entryway arranging myself and overheard the talk from the dinner table. I heard my husband's name mentioned. This was rude, but I was curious what was going to be said while they thought I wasn't listening, so I took my time next to the door. The question about our absence was casually directed to my mother, and my stepdad cut in with the line in the title. He said exactly, yes, where is the pig and his dumb little see you next Tuesday? There was some chuckles, and my mother answered, your son-in-law is sick, in a mildly chastising tone. She then turned the topic to something else. I decided to leave. I nearly cried in the back of the car, but stayed composed until I got home. My mother's reaction was the most hurtful. I would have expected a far harsher reaction than she gave. This suggests to me that this happens with some regularity. My mother doesn't defend me when I'm called a dumb little see you next Tuesday. She doesn't defend me. She doesn't defend my husband when he's called a pig. She acts as if someone made an inappropriate noise at the dinner table. Should I tell my husband? I'm a little afraid of his subsequent actions if I do. He has helped specific family members that were not at the dinner party and could take that all away on a whim. I need to tell him, but I don't want him to punish people that weren't at the party. My husband will be very angry at them, but I still need to tell them. Then there is my relationship with my family. I've been trying to think how this could mean something else. I've been trying to twist it into a term of endearment, and I can't. This was cruel. I feel used by those I loved most. They hid their feelings while we were around. And top relevant comments. But before we get into those, do you have any top and relevant comments of your own?
Nothing really beyond what I've already said. You should
Yeah.
have burst in through the door and said,
Hey.
hey, you have some choice words for me, I hear.
Yeah, I heard my ears were ringing.
What about a Tuesday?
Or is it my ears
What?
are burning?
I heard
Something like that.
Tuesday was involved a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Next
open up-
Tuesday?
Hey,
What about that?
who we talking about, huh?
Yeah.
Who we talking about?
we gossiping. Deleted says, tell your husband he has the right to know. If family members are dependent on him and talking behind his back, he should know about it. Do you think so little of your husband that he would punish people in need because they are related to someone who badmouthed him once? What about when you have children and they go visit their grandmother? Will your children learn to call you a dumb C word behind your back? There's no good reason for that type of name calling, especially when the person isn't around. You don't need two-faced like father-in-law in your life. Tell your husband, and then you and your husband can confront your mother, demand an apology, and minimize contact with mom and father-in-law for a while. OP says, I think the world of my husband, but he is a very fierce man when it comes to people who don't respect him and me. I know I need to tell him. Jin Baitai says, my man is exactly the same, protective and unforgiving of people he feels have disrespected me. Himself too, but it's a whole other level when I'm involved. All I can say is you need to let him vent and be angry, and then ask him to have a game plan with you. His loyalty should help you come up with a compromise that you both can live with. Clamdelicus says, my initial reaction was you should have walked in and said, the dumb little C word is right here, picked up a drink from the table and thrown it in his face. Seriously, OP, you have to tell your husband. Tell him exactly what you told us. He deserves to know. Let him be part of the decision on how to proceed. And Burning Cake for Fun says, ah, yes, the classic soap opera ending. A fantastic choice. June Gloom says he has helped specific family members that were not at the dinner party and could take that all away on a whim. I think this is where the pig thing is coming from. For some people, your success and help just makes them feel inferior, and they're resentful of you as being the cause of those feelings. So they cut you down when you aren't around. Instead of taking responsibility for their own life choices or being secure in themselves and happy for you, they'd rather drag you down in some grab bucket mentality. They don't have your best interests at heart. They only want to drag you down to feel better about themselves. It may be the healthiest thing for your relationships not to help if they aren't the kind of people who can deal with it. They're not happy, and you're just losing respect from people you previously had a better relationship with. And there is an update. Any other thoughts?
I'm just thinking about the crab bucket reference now because I
Yes.
hadn't heard that.
It's like
Before,
when you got a
but
bunch
yeah.
of crabs in a bucket and they're going to drag each other.
And
They're
then
gonna
when
claw
crab
each other.
tries to get out, the rest of the crabs say,
I was gonna say, you know who says
"Stay
that a
down
lot?
here with me."
Is Riley.
Riley says that all the
Riley-
time.
That's like
Crab
Riley's.
bucket?
Yeah, he says it all the time.
He's
and I think
like, oh, crab in a bucket. He's always saying it.
I've
Yeah.
never heard Riley say
Wow.
that.
That's
Am I
a lie.
He
crazy?
says it all
he
the
says
time.
it all the time. Maybe you just don't listen to
Anyways,
Riley.
yeah.
Someone make a compilation.
I think
I do.
you
the horse
know
with
your
water.
husband should know what was said about you.
Agreed.
The people
And
who
him.
said that stuff about you should know that you heard it and
Agreed.
be like, "Hey, so y'all are weird, and I'm not gonna be hanging out with you guys."
Yeah, if you think that about me, then why would I be around you? Update. I told my husband about this earlier this morning. I did it carefully, making sure to tell him that I didn't know exactly who was there other than a few names, and ensuring that he knew a few specific people were definitely not there. My husband is a very deliberative person. He sat and listened to everything I had to say without showing any emotion. It's hard to talk to him sometimes about difficult things because of this, but I got through it. He asked me a few questions, making sure that I was completely sure on every detail. Then he told me to fetch his phone, and I did. He made several calls, called various people, and over the next 30 minutes, 3 of my family members lost their jobs, 2 lost their apartments, or will be losing them as soon as the law allows. He only punished people who were guaranteed to be at the dinner party or directly related to those who were. He did not punish my big sister, who I was worried about the most, or people who couldn't have been involved. Afterwards, he told me that he would not tell me to cut contact with my family, but that he will not be seeing them until we receive a written apology from everyone who was at the party. He said I can handle my family as I like. I mean, I think he handled them. I thanked him and told him that I would not be seeing them either until that happened. Whilst I was helping my husband dress for work, my mother called, but my husband waved it off and told me to keep her waiting because she'll call again. He said I don't know her promptness and that keeping her waiting shows her I have the power. She called many times in succession afterwards, but I only answered after my husband was dressed and I had seen him to the car. She told me in a frantic voice that person A had lost a job and wondered what happened or if there was anything my husband could do. I'm glad my husband had me wait because I had a formulated response. I told her that my husband had person A, B, and C fired. I didn't tell her why. She went silent for a bit and finally asked, why, in an odd tone. I just told her that I heard what my stepdad said at the party. I told her that my husband and I expect written apologies from everyone at the dinner party.
Dude, you made people lose their jobs before you even were like, "Hey, we heard what happened."
Why did you say that?
sorry."
Who said? You guys are crazy. Genuinely, you guys are crazy.
I'd have a problem with my partner if they did this.
Genuinely, I'd be
That's
like,
an overreaction.
if one of my family members said something against me, and I'd be like, that's really awful. I'm gonna go talk to them and be like, why would you say
Yeah.
that? Why would you say
They're-
that about me
they're-
and my partner when we're not there?
Those are words. You're like, what you're doing is genuinely affecting the fabric of people's lives.
Also, I'm sorry. You don't want a real apology. You want them to grovel.
You want them to be like punished.
You want them to
justice.
beg for mercy.
This guy's a vigilante.
Definitely been in
It's
like
crazy.
a TV show or a film where you're like, oh yeah, I want them to feel bad, but like not ruin their life kind of thing, or like get an
Yeah.
apology. You ruin these people's lives, and I feel like you can't undo that.
You can't.
I have to.
What,
I
they
wanna,
say sorry? That what? They get their apartment back?
I want to clarify because
Oh my
we have
God.
Ace makes it on Twitch comment. Got to disagree with Dakota on it being okay since the people being talked about weren't there. It's not that it's okay. It's that the
yeah.
level of reaction from other people there
Is usually
isn't going to
different.
necessarily going to be like, okay, well, that was unacceptable and I'm leaving this instant. It
Yeah.
was like,
Sometimes I feel like when
yeah.
someone says something, like if I was talking to, like let's say Dakota wasn't there and I said something out of pocket about Dakota,
He's stinky.
Keon, like I feel like you might be like, hey, that's not very nice, but you wouldn't necessarily have the same reaction as like it's uncomfortable
Nah,
to call
Sophia.
someone out.
Nah, Sophia.
Yeah.
Did Dakota?
Shut up.
Did Dakota make fun of you? I'm gonna go scorched earth.
Yeah,
for you.
you go scorched
His
earth.
bloodline
Yeah,
done.
yeah. Especially if you like,
and
if
this
you're
was,
not
to
as
be
close to that
clear,
person.
not like a group
Yeah.
bashing session.
No,
it was like
one person made a
one
comment.
guy
Yeah,
said it, and then
Yeah.
her mom was just like, oh, don't do that.
yeah. Which that's not okay.
Yeah.
But to like then say that everyone at that party is complicit is kind of crazy.
I mean, yeah.
3 people shouldn't be losing their jobs and,
And apartments. That's crazy.
How do you have the power to do that?
Yeah.
Makes
It's
it
wild.
Yeah.
Ace Makes It does say, if someone's trashing me in conversation and my people are not saying anything, they're not my people, which is fair.
For sure.
Yeah,
But I think like we don't know how close all these people at the party were, their family, but are they like I just think there's a different level of reaction that you'll have when the person's not in the like I see what you're saying.
yeah, it's
Which
just,
is, like obviously you would still want your friends to defend you, but I'm saying they shouldn't lose their job. They probably didn't necessarily agree.
I feel like
I think is the point.
the
It's not
proper
like,
way to go about it is
Yeah.
just like, hey, you guys suck, calling them out
Yes.
and be like,
And then we
you're
go-
not our
yeah.
friend or you're not OP's friend.
Yeah.
And the person who said it, guess what? You suck and you should apologize. That's
Yeah.
it. And if they were like, no, I'm not going to apologize, then you're like, you know what?
It's like I did you a favor. I can take that favor
It's-
away.
It's the I don't get mad, I get even kind of
Yeah.
thing, but this was not even.
This is not even. This is like you kicked me in the shins, so I burned down your house. A long silence followed, so long that I nearly hung up, but my mother did it first. This was a confusing reaction. I think she was too ashamed to speak, but it could also be that she doesn't care. I'll wait. The need to reach out to us with an apology is on them if they're interested in continuing our family ties. I am at peace about this. And top relevant comments, Evil Buddha says, if you live in China, I can understand the response. People in relatively high positions can make the lives of family miserable if they show disrespect. OP says, you're right. I know it's not the same way in Western countries. Evil Buddha says, I agree, it's not the same in Western countries, and folks here have to understand that the culture in China is way different. Stuff like this happens in China. Question, did your husband help your family members in getting jobs and housing? Makes me wonder how he was able to get them all fired and evicted just like that. OP says, yes, he did help them get the jobs and housing, good jobs and preferred housing, which can be very hard to get. And OP says, my husband was kind at all times. It may be that they resented him for his help. He asked me what I thought should happen. I told him I was very upset. He makes the decisions after consulting me, but this was disrespectful to him just as much as me. Thank you for your explanation. I understand why this might be shocking in that case. When I said helped in my first post, I meant jobs and preferred housing. Deleted says, what the heck? Why would your husband get people fired? As far as I read in your last post, they didn't even have anything to do with what your stepdad called you. They were just there. This seems like a huge overreaction on his part, where you guys could have just gone and confronted your stepdad, not F up people's living situations and their jobs. That's crazy. OP says, I think it might be cultural. Often when someone does something poorly, it's part of our culture to judge the family as well. Also, they laughed.
I don't know, dude. I've given an uncomfortable laugh more than once.
Also, they
Sometimes
laughed.
someone says something, you go, haha, yeah.
Dude, this is actually...
And then like 20 minutes later, they leave the room and you're like, okay, so that was the weirdest thing
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you've
you're
ever
like,
heard, right?
You're right.
Why would they do that? That's crazy.
because you don't know how to talk. Like, sometimes
Right.
you're in a... Like, I'm not saying that they shouldn't have stood up for OP and her husband, but there are some times where you just feel so uncomfortable that you don't know how to address it. AB Eterno says, I am genuinely curious, and I'm sorry if I come across as naive in this question, but what would the proper etiquette in China be in this situation? For example, what if it was you and your husband at your aunt's house in dinner table? Your aunt's husband makes this rude comment about the person who gave your husband his job, who is your cousin's husband. her daughter's spouse and not present, should you say anything? Would you speak up out of loyalty for your employer? Or would you not say anything out of politeness for the host, who is also your family? What is correct in this situation in China? OP says, of course I will answer, and no, you do not come across as naive. I think first, understand that there are no individuals in China. I'm not a single person. I belong to my husband. I belong to my family. Those units are more important than me alone. I think there is no correct response for this. Would there be a correct response for this in a Western country? I think it was incredibly rude, and that crosses cultural barriers. The shock in this thread is that my husband punished everyone, yes? Here we return to the fact that no one is an individual in China. You see my stepdad as an independent individual who made this decision. My husband and I see him as a part of a larger group, in this case his family unit and those others at the dinner party. They all allowed this disrespect to stand by not acting. I think the correct response would have been for everyone at the dinner party to banish my stepdad. Whoa.
What, doesn't he live there?
Yeah. Yes, I think wasn't he the one that was throwing the party?
Oh, man. Well, really quick, we got 20 more
Woo!
new babies that
20
live here
babies.
Purple
on the
Trader.
stream, thanks to Purple Trader.
And we're going to hit that wheel spin after this story.
Donated 20 gifted memberships.
They should have collectively shown him that what he did was wrong. Social harmony is very important. I hope that this makes sense. Fire Dawn says, I'm from Taiwan, living in America, and I completely understand your husband's response. Trust is difficult to come by in China. And if your husband is in a position of financial power, then he is in a position a lot of people are willing to suck up to just to get something out of him. He is 100% correct to cut his financial and personal connection with people he cannot trust. Most others in this sub will not understand the cultural implications of this, but trust is everything in a workplace situation in Chinese culture because of the possibility of backstabbing and betrayal. You do your thing, OP, and don't let all these naysayers in the post sway you. And there is a second update. I guess I just can't understand this because I have such a different cultural upbringing.
I don't know. It's
So
I
I guess I
he-
can't like give a proper,
he had to have known what he was messing with, I guess,
Yeah.
then by saying that.
I feel like if there
He
is that
just
cultural background, then
Didn't
yeah,
think you were at
shouldn't
the
have done that.
door.
Probably
yeah.
shouldn't have done that.
Well, I would be
yikes.
living in fear every day of my life.
For all of my family members. I'm like, don't say anything about anyone, guys. But there's a second update. My husband has received several written apologies from those who were at the party, but not from my stepdad or my mother. I think it is correct to say now that they are not going to apologize. I talked to my mother again a few days after my second comment for a brief moment. She prostrated herself in front of me verbally, but she will not give us a written apology. She is supporting her husband over her daughter. I hung up on her as her apology was hollow in many ways, despite how deeply she spoke. Those who have apologized have said that these insults were not uncommon, but no one other than my stepdad engaged in them. My husband believes them and blames my stepdad. My stepdad later lost his job as a result of his words. My husband could not punish him immediately because of his position. I'm feeling okay. It hurt me after the second conversation with my mother, where I realized she would not apologize. I am trying to make peace with it, but it has been hard. My husband has done things to cheer me up. He bought me a puppy. I need to feel this over a period of time, if that makes sense. I want to go back because OP says her mom didn't apologize, but she literally said she prostrated herself in front of us verbally. So she did apologize. She just didn't apologize in the way that you wanted. But there's a little bit left to this. Again, I don't think that I have the cultural, knowledge to accurately make a judgment on this. I think it is very different to how I would react and act in this situation.
Wild to me that there was no investigation on the front end. Instead, it was just like, I'm going to
It was immediate,
immediately
yeah.
take 3 jobs and 2 apartments away.
Yeah. And not even from the person that did it either.
Right.
Like, he didn't even immediately lose his job.
This is scary. You're married to a scary
yeah.
guy.
I also, if anyone has, more cultural knowledge about this, because I know some of you in the comments were already kind of speaking up about it, let us know what you think about this.
Yeah, a lot of people. Again, a lot of people were like, people were saying in Chinese dramas or K dramas that this happens more frequently than we think. It's
Yeah.
not. We're not used to it. But for them, this is probably that's the norm.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you in the Philippines, if this happened, especially with like a barangay captain or like a cop captain or something like that,
Yeah.
it'd be the same thing.
Yeah.
It'd be like, all right, well, you did that to my wife, so you're on bad terms with us.
You are now jobbing.
Pretty much.
Dang. There is a little bit left to the story. OP says, I agree the letter is a formality, but an important one, I think. My mother's words were hollow, though. I'm not sure I have the words to describe this. She apologized, but defended and dismissed at the same time. That's why I hung up. Last leader says, your mom sounds like you in a lot of way. Both of you stand behind your husbands no matter what, and let them make all the decisions. This is between your husband and your stepdad. Your mom won't be able to apologize until your stepdad allows her to. This is one of those times that being old-fashioned and doing what your husband tells you to do is pretty stupid. I mean, both you and your mom, both of you are letting men ruin your mother-daughter relationship. These updates sadden me to see all the unwise decisions and ego continuing on both sides. I hope someday this will change. OP says, my husband did not force me to cut ties with my family. I chose not to forgive my mother because her apology was hollow. Her words were empty. Silmaril says, I think it's refreshing to see someone posting to this Reddit with such a clear idea of their boundaries and acting on them when they are violated. Certainly acted upon. We always encourage people to find their boundaries and learn to back them up when they face crises in relationships. And here is an example of a couple who have very clearly defined boundaries and are doing something about it when they got disrespected. The husband was clearly taking care of a lot of people in this family and would feel deeply hurt and disrespected to learn that these same people were witness to the offensive things said about him behind his back and not stopping it or standing up for him. I 100% agree with his decisive actions, and while I feel sorry for OP's mother, who is trapped between daughter and husband, I think OP's husband was still within his moral rights to act as he saw fit in this case. OP, I wonder if you would act differently than your mother did, though. Would you go against your husband if he ever behaved badly towards someone in the family? Or would you have his back, even when he was wrong? Your mother has apologized to you in the only way that she can without making open conflict with her husband. Can you understand her at all? Maybe you can forgive her eventually. Smacksaw says, your mother has apologized to you in the only way she can without making open conflict with her husband. Oh, wait, that's continuing. I think you make a great point responding to that commenter. Not just there, but the whole post. But that part is framed incorrectly. She isn't making open conflict with her husband. The husband is making open conflict with her. By not standing up to him, she is being an enabler. She is giving him tacit permission to continue. Is it unfair she's in the middle of this, along with the people who got fired? Yes. In life, when unfair things happen to you, though through no fault of your own, character shows when you do the right thing. Absolutely no one did the right thing, and she still refuses to throw his mess back in his face. OP's stepdad is the one causing trouble. He's an ingrate piece of crap after all the problems he's caused and impossible scenarios he's created. To not back down and give her an out, F him. There's at least 3 to 4 other people like the mom who also need to save face. He isn't allowing them an out. She isn't choosing conflict. She's choosing to lose the conflict rather than fight for herself. OP's stepdad is a piece of crap to the highest order. Asian and Chinese society is about harmony and making decisions that benefit the group so that everyone wins. He is sacrificing the group for his own twisted sense of egotistical honor. And that is the end of that story.
My mother took me off her insurance because I said my dad was nicer.
Well, you should have said your mom was nicer.
There's a trigger warning for emotional. I, 23 female, and my mom, 49 female, I've never really gotten along. Growing up, she treated me differently from my siblings. I'm the second oldest of 4, and she was always stricter and harsher with me. By the way, this comes from user MoistWest4212, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Sophia.
And I'm Keon.
And we're here to give you good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do, so if you do something different, let us know in the comments. As OP says, if I brought home anything less than an A, I'd get grounded. Even 1 B on an assignment meant trouble. My siblings never had that rule. On top of that, she always commented on my weight, calling me the fat kid even though I was thin. She never said this to my siblings, just me. As I got older, I realized she liked getting a reaction out of me. At first, I defended myself, but when I stopped, she escalated and even got physical. On my 18th birthday, while I was still in high school, she kicked me out. By then, I was already staying with a friend most of the time just to get away from her. Now, as an adult, I hardly speak to her. Again, at family events, we might exchange a few words, but that's it. Recently, I was at my sister's place, and she had my mom on speakerphone. I was in the background talking to my brother, and he asked who I thought was nicer, mom or dad. Without thinking, I said dad. My dad wasn't great either. He wasn't around much and could be harsh, but compared to my mom, he is nicer. I also talked to him more, though not a ton. My mom overheard, asked what I said, and I repeated it. She snapped and said she'd never speak to me again. I said, "You're saying that like it's a bad thing. Honestly, it sounds like heaven." She didn't hang up on me, but ended the call with my sister, who was the one talking to her. Later, my sister texted me that my mom took me off her insurance. I never asked her to be on it anyway. She added me without telling me because it lowered her own rate. One day, she just said, "Hey, I put you on my plan." I didn't argue, but now I see it was just another way for her to control me. She's done stuff like this before. Like when I was younger, she'd put my phone on her plan and shut it off whenever she got mad. This time was the same. After removing me, she told my sister she thinks her dad is the better parent. Let him put her on his insurance. I never said better parent. I just said dad was nicer. She also told my sister she hoped my car got impounded and that she could turn it off through OnStar. My car is fully paid off, so I doubt that's even possible, but the fact she said it was ridiculous. I don't need her insurance anyway. Before she added me, I was paying for my own, and after she removed me, I just went back to mine. Meanwhile, my sister said I was too harsh and should apologize because mom has done so much for you. I asked what she meant, and she said she put a roof over your head and gave you food and clothes. That's literally the bare minimum of parenting.
That's two things.
Oh, she took care of the life she brought into the world?
Oh, she didn't neglect her child?
Oh, okay.
Yay, she's a terrific parent.
My mom has gone to my grandparents and aunts saying I was disrespectful and need to apologize. From my perspective, I just answered my brother's question honestly. So Reddit, am I the a-hole?
No. But I mean, like,
You weren't even talking to her.
yeah, you weren't even talking to her. You're not the a-hole. However, in this situation, if you didn't literally bow down to your mom, she was going to, get rid of anything anyway. So, I think you just have to take this opportunity to cut her off, not necessarily, like, if you want to go no contact, but, like, definitely lower contact and just be more financially independent from her.
Yeah, which sounds like it's not an issue.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into these comments. Comment 1, is your mom a registered owner on the car? If so, she may be able to cause problems with it. If she isn't, and even if you don't use OnStar, contact them and let them know to ask them if they have the ability to notate on your car's file that your mom is not allowed to have any information or use any of the features. Ask about passwording the file. OP says, unfortunately, she is. I initially got the car from my grandparents, and I guess when you gift a car, or at least in my state, it cannot be transferred from grandparents to grandchildren. It has to be transferred from parent to child. So the original plan was for my grandparents to sign it over to my mom, who would then sign it over to me. However, she never did that. Probably to have something to hold over my head. But yeah, unfortunately, she is registered as the owner. I'm planning on looking into getting a new car next week just to be completely rid of her. I'll definitely contact OnStar. Comment 2 says, your mother is mistreating you. Why have contact at all? What does she add to your life? It's common to have scapegoats and golden children. Look at the subreddit raised by... I got similar being called fat as a skinny kid, etc., and physical and emotional abuse. My parents haven't known where I lived for 12 years now and have had zero contact from me. I've not long stopped having nightmares about them finding me. OP replies, we don't really have any contact. Her number is blocked, which is why she had to use my sister as the messenger. I don't speak to her, talk to her, or hang out with her. The only time I see her is at family gatherings, and even then I hardly go to those, especially if I know she's going to be there. Comment 3 says, objectively, your mom is an a-hole, but your sister is approaching a-hole status with her comment. You didn't ask to be born. It's your parents' job to feed, clothe, and house you. You may want to remind your sister that your mom booted you out at 18, and so her suggestion that a roof over your head merits an apology is wide off the mark. You're not the a-hole. Your family, not so sure. Fourth comment, not the a-hole. All you did was state your honest opinion about your mom, who is an a-hole. Don't take their opinion for anything. You don't need the approval of a family in the pocket of an. And there is an update 2 days later. I bet your mom repoed the car or something.
Yeah.
Ugh.
She did something.
Over under that she reports it stolen.
Ooh,
I think,
maybe.
I don't know. I'm saying
well, no,
75% chance she says it's stolen.
Wouldn't OP be on some sort of insurance?
Mom turns into a car.
Who knows?
She's a transformer now.
Yeah.
She's from Cybertron.
She has the All-Spark.
But is she an
She
Autobot
steals the
or a
moon.
Decepticon?
She's a Decepticon. 2 days later, growing up with my mom has always been difficult. She is self-absorbed, controlling, and manipulative. Her whole family has mostly tolerated it, which made me feel like I was constantly in the wrong, always backed into a corner. This situation helped me realize I needed to step out of that mindset. I needed to see my experiences from my own perspective and recognize that my feelings and reactions are valid. For instance, talking to my grandmother about the situation confirmed what I already knew. My mom has always treated everyone poorly, not just me.
Oh, well, that's nice. It's comforting
Yeah, you're
to
not
know that you're not the target.
you're not alone.
No,
You're
just
just
everybody,
caught in the
everyone
crossfire.
else.
She's
Everyone
just
is a
firing at
target.
everyone.
Most family members tolerate her behavior to avoid conflict, even my younger siblings. I've always been outspoken about her treatment of us, which has made me seem difficult, but in reality, I've just been honest about her behavior. And by the way, I'm honest when I say you can listen to full episodes with stories like this on your favorite podcast platform, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcast, whatever it is, just search OK Storytime, and we have a little bit more story left. Yeah, I think you're on the right track.
Yeah, I think you just have to kind of limit contact with your mom and limit any kind of connection that you have with her because she's going to use that against you.
Yeah. She's going to leverage any level of power she has
Mm-hmm.
over you legally, fiscally.
Emotionally.
So, yeah, it's time
All that jazz.
to just close that door and don't look back.
Agreed.
As a result of this recent incident, I've decided to go low contact with my brother. He's been influenced by my mom and started calling and texting me with insults about things I supposedly did wrong, things that only make sense from her perspective. I'll probably also go low contact with my sister because I've realized she shares information about my life with my mom even after I've asked her not to. I want to protect my boundaries and maintain some privacy. Regarding my mom, I'll be moving to no contact. I was already pretty much no contact, but also I'll be including avoiding family functions where she's present and limit any other interactions so that I can protect my mental health and break the cycle of manipulation I've experienced my whole life. There are some more comments here. Comment 1 says, "You're not wrong. As for your sister, get her on an info diet. She can't share what she doesn't know. That does not mean you have to stop talking to her." OP says, "Yeah, I've put my sister on an info diet for now. I won't be talking to her because like most toxic, self-absorbed mothers, mine has a way of turning siblings against each other. She's managed to convince my sister that I've been talking to her and trashing my sister behind her back, which is insane, considering my mom prides herself on supposedly avoiding my calls. I never call that woman, and insists she doesn't even speak to me. Yesterday, my sister blew up on me over this supposed trash talking, and then immediately called my mom to trash talk me with her, which is pretty hypocritical.
Yikes.
Why she believes anything my mom says is beyond me, especially since my mom is a pathological liar." Second comment says, "You cannot begin to heal until you pluck the splinter out. If you leave it in, the wound just keeps festering. You've done the painful part and pulled the splinter out. Good for you. Now focus on yourself. Heal, grieve if you need to. Take care of yourself and love yourself." Well done, OP.
True that.
And that is the end of
There you
that
go.
story.